Welcome to Abstract. One of the most powerful features of JavaScript is its support for closures. Closures are a key aspect of JavaScript that can be difficult to understand for many developers, but they play a crucial role in making the language more flexible and powerful. Understanding closures is essential for any developer who wants to master JavaScript. With closures, developers can create more efficient and maintainable code, write more secure applications, and even build powerful libraries and frameworks. Let's take a closer look at what closures are and how they work and why they are so important in JavaScript development. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, understanding closures will help you to take your JavaScript skills to the next level. But before that, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I am bringing similar content on this topic. Okay. We have this function create counter, a variable count with value 1. Then this function is returning another function that logs value of count to console using this pattern. A closure is a function that has access to variables in its outer scope even after the outer function has completed execution. This can be incredibly useful for creating reusable code and for encapsulating data in a way that makes it more secure and easier to manage. Now have a look at this. Output is 1. Now watch this. See how it affects the value. The create counter function is returning a new function that increments a count variable every time it is called and logs the updated value to the console. The count variable is defined inside the create counter function, so it is not accessible from outside the function. However, the inner function that create counter returns forms a closure around the count variable, which means that it has access to the variable even after create counter has finished executing. When we call create counter, we get back a new function that we can assign a variable such as counter. We can then call counter multiple times to increment and log count value to the console. In JavaScript, a closure is created whenever a function is defined inside another function, and the inner function has access to variables and parameters from the outer function even after outer function has returned. In other words, a closure is a combination of a function and the environment in which it was created. The environment consists of any local variables that were in scope at the time the closure was created. This allows the inner function to remember and access the values of those variables even when the outer function has finished executing. By defining functions inside other functions, we can control the scope and visibility of variables and create functions that are tailored to specific use cases. This is a simple example of how closures work in JavaScript. Closure is a powerful feature that allows us to create functions with private state and encapsulation, and they are widely used in many programming patterns and libraries. If we look at MDN, here we see a closure is a combination of a function bundled together or enclosed with references to its surrounding state that is called the lexical environment. In other words, a closure gives you access to an outer function scope from an inner function. In JavaScript, closures are created every time a function is created at function creation time. Closures are useful because they let you associate data, the lexical environment, from lexical environment with a function that operates on that data. The following code illustrates how to use closures to define public functions that can access private functions and variables. This is a practical use case of closures. Counter.increment, counter.decrement. counter, private counter, and here is the return, increment function, decrement function, and value. Counter.increment, counter.decrement. These are public functions that can access private functions and variables, like here. This is closure in JavaScript. I can also give you an example from React.js. This is React.js code, function app, and here is the state. We have got another function inside this function, another function. Here you can see functions that can access variables from their lexical scope, and the whole thing is inside a function as well. Okay, I hope it helped. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.